I'll show you how to fix a wheel that grinds. When we move the wheel, it's kind of tight and you can hear a grind. When you drive the car and you apply the brakes, you're going to hear more of this grind, especially when the car is going slower. Remove the wheel. The back brake pad is very low. In fact, it's non-existent. If we go to this side, we can see the brake pad. Here, there's no brake pad at all. It's metal to metal. There's also a very good chance that on the caliper, these pins are frozen or locked up. We'll loosen up the guide pin bolts. We'll pull the caliper out. Make sure this caliper does not hang on the rubber hose. We'll set it up on this spring. We'll feel if this pad moves, and it doesn't, so it's kind of frozen in there. The other one moves barely, but still frozen. The screwdriver will be able to pry this out, which it moves fairly decent. When we look at this pad, you can clearly see there's no brake material at all, and that's why it was grinding. Let's check the pins. This one moves, and of course this one is completely seized, and that's a problem. Because this pin is so sticky, that's the reason why it ripped that pad to shreds. We'll remove this other pad. It comes out. You can see there's plenty of pad, and that's because this pin seized and it wore out on this side. This pin needs to be pulled out, cleaned, new grease on it. You can see how gummy everything is. That's the reason everything failed. The top one's a little sticky, but not too bad. When we pull it out, still pretty grindy. To get the car back on the road tonight, I found another pad. I'll clean it up, clean both of them up. We'll make sure the channels are really clean, top and bottom, and on the other side. We'll clean the guide pins. That's a lot cleaner. We'll also polish it on the polishing wheel. Now that's a lot shinier. Now we'll clean up the one that was seized. This one you can see corrosion, and you can feel the corrosion on there. We'll clean it off with the wire wheel. A lot cleaner, no corrosion. We'll buff it. Now that's a lot shinier. We'll clean off and inspect the rubber pieces. You gotta make sure there's no cracks in these, or they'll just seize up real fast. With the Q-tip, we'll spray some rubbing alcohol in there and clean out all that old grease. Just make sure all that old grease is out of there. I'll apply silicone grease to the guide pin. We'll apply the rubber boot back into the metal. We'll slide the guide pin in and then move it around so it's nice and free. Now we can see it moves real nice. We'll do the same thing to the top pin, make sure it moves nice. We'll make sure that the pads move freely, and this one does, very nice. Make sure the back one moves nice and free, which it does. We'll put high temp grease just on the ears. Now the grease will make everything move a lot smoother. We'll retract the piston back into the caliper. When it goes in, it should be very smooth, which it is. Place the caliper back on, put the caliper bolts in and tighten them up. The caliper should move nice and free like this. We'll put the wheel back on and give it a test drive. We'll torque up the wheels. Everything is working good.